Hello, everyone. Kris here with the weekly energy report for August 7th, 2023. This week, I'm looking at the energy of perfection, not as in trying to be perfect, but as in getting stuck in perfect, where we often do sometimes. And so I've written about it. My weekly Substack has a whole big post about that. I also talk about this quite a lot in different ways in my classes and teaching and in other posts. But I look at it for myself because it is also one of those energies that I have personally gotten caught in many times over the years. And I'm always happy when I start to step out of it, when I start to free myself from the demand to do something perfectly well or hide it or not show it. And so that's another part of letting go of perfection that I notice for a lot of people, which is that we tend to hide when something isn't quite perfect or when we think it's wrong. We're not enough, we're not doing it well, we're not good enough, or it's not as good as so-and-so. We compare ourselves to another person. Look at those people who are really fun to watch in the world, who don't need to be perfect, who just get to be themselves, and they look really real. They look authentic, or the word vulnerable is bandied about so much more these days because people are talking about that. Because feeling vulnerable is sometimes seen as being undesirable, and then other people are saying, but I need to let myself be vulnerable. So I want to get into a rant about vulnerable, but it is an energy, a real thing, and anxiety and all kinds of other energies can go with that if you feel like you're being judged or you're not doing something perfectly or well enough. I saw the new Barbie movie last Saturday, and it really lit this up for me because I was already looking at this energy, and that is one of the themes of the Barbie movie. It is such a good movie. If you haven't seen it yet, it's well worth seeing. It's so smart, it's so funny, it's so well written. The opening scene is brilliance. And there's a whole theme in it that really has to do with being real and self-love, but there's way more than that, much more. So anyway, back to perfection. Perfection can really choke creation. When you need to be perfect or to do something perfectly well without having given yourself permission to go through all the, like the journey to get to what's yours. You might be comparing yourself. This is sort of very common. We humans do this, don't we? Comparing yourself to how you see someone else doing it and always feeling like you fell short, or trying to emulate another person's work in your field and not quite finding your own. And that's sometimes what we do to limit ourselves, is because, when you're making your own thing or you're taking your own journey, it won't look like anyone else's. And it might not make sense for a while, and it might not really be acknowledged by other people. And you might not feel valued until you really get to a point where you own it. And that's part of the journey. And I don't know, it's different for everybody, and it might be different for every time you do a new thing. So capitalism, this system we've been living in our whole lives, and what everyone's calling late capitalism, and I'm calling earth-killing capitalism. But what it has also done is trained us very, very well about value and our value, and a bunch of pictures that are not real, actually, and that have often created this perfectionism. And it takes us away from our bodies and our emotions and our truth, and it takes us away from our earth, too, which is already incredibly perfect. And so is every single human being born on it, just as we are. But I guess that's part of the journey, isn't it? Like needing to go, it's that hero's journey or heroine's journey or however you want to see it, going through all those archetypes, being the innocent, being the seeker, being the adventurer, all these different things that we do to find ourselves. Perfection is one of those energies that gets in the way when you get caught in it. It's different from excellence. Excellence is something to want or attain, or it's not even that that's necessarily the end goal, but that is something that you look for when you're trying to do something better. Perfection sometimes has us competing with ourselves or others in a way that doesn't really serve us, because there's absolutely no competition for you when you're being you. Nobody else can be you like you can be you. You're the only one who can do that. And you might forget that when you're comparing yourself to somebody else and not showing up as being perfect because you don't look like that person or that thing, or your work doesn't look like this, or you're not seeing yourself and the way that you express yourself reflected. You're doing something unique. It takes a lot of nerve to do something different and be yourself, but many people do it, and maybe you do too. And I don't know, I don't think there's one answer here. There's so many ways to go about this. So along the lines of perfection, I want to just mention again that a week ago I launched a brand new reading called the Imagination Reading. To me, those things go together. Letting go of perfection, or having permission to make a mess, having permission to just sort of dig in and create something and not need to show your work and make it make sense for everyone. That's also about imagination. The Imagination Reading is a 45-minute clairvoyant reading specifically designed to go in and read the energies around your imagination, your own personal imagination. We've also been programmed to use our imaginations to create products and profit. Now, there's nothing wrong with doing that. That can be pretty fun too. However, when it's about always producing something that's got to be judged for its value in some other market rather than for yourself, and also what do you get to imagine for yourself? So that's actually a big part of the Imagination Reading, is what does it look like when you have yours working for you? And it's a really fun reading. Through August, it is on sale for $140. It's like a special launching price. I plan to keep that one around for a little bit. Normally it's $175. You can book it at KrisCahill.com. I'm also offering now a couples reading, which is actually for two people to show up. Whether you're on the same camera or not, it doesn't matter. But it's a reading about the relationship between two people who are both present. And then also I offer a relationship reading that's for one person to come to. Whether they're in a relationship or not, it doesn't matter. But it's about their relationship space. I also offer a past life reading and so many different kinds. So check out my schedule at KrisCahill.com under book a session or book a reading. And if you have any questions for me or want to know more about my work, reach out. KrisCahill.com or Kris@KrisCahill.com is my email. And thanks so much for watching my energy report.